What's up guys, it's Will here back again, and today we're here to discuss the Toys Era 1/6 scale Joel figure from HBO's The Last of Us. As one of the biggest The Last of Us fans on the planet, both the games and the HBO show, I've been looking forward to this figure. I have much to say about this one, some of which may surprise you. That said, make sure to click the like button, click the subscribe button, and click the notification bell so you're notified when all things 1/6 scale collecting goes live on this channel. I gotta give a shout out to 1/6 Kit for selling me this figure at a discount. It's a great place to buy third-party figures, so I've popped a link in the description below. That said, let's waste no more time and jump into the review. The outer packaging sports a reflective portrait of Pedro Pascal as Joel, and the inner packaging is typical for 1/6 figures. You have a plastic tray that holds the figure and all of its included accessories. There's 2 layers of inner packaging and both are secured well. Let's move on to the fun part and take a look at the figure itself. Alright guys, so here is your close-up look at the head sculpt from Toys Era here of Pedro Pascal Joel, the last father. I do think overall it looks a lot like Pedro. I'll show a shot here that compares the Hot Toys Mandalorian Season 2 Chrome Beskar head sculpt compared to this one. Honestly, I do think this one is better. I do think the likeness on this one is a little bit let down just by the paint apps. The paint apps are good, not great. I do think they're a little bit lacking insofar as realism is concerned. I do think the realism on other figures, with Hot Toys and InArt, which you're paying a lot higher price for, I get that, but those are much higher. And I do think if this had been painted by one of those 2 companies, or maybe by, an independent artist, I think this head sculpt would really, truly shine and be something exceptional, because the likeness is absolutely there. It's just the paint that I feel lets it down just a little bit. You can see here the hair actually has some elements of, it's like gray and black, just to sort of indicate aging. You can see the little horns there at the front. That's just kind of part of the hairstyle with the sculpted hair piece. So, it works fine. I do think that makes it look a little toyish, but, sculpted hair again can look that way depending upon who's doing it. So overall, I do think the likeness is pretty strong here. Insofar as the tailoring is concerned, good, decent, I'd say above average, but nothing spectacular. You have the plaid shirt underneath. This is actually attached via a Velcro strip. So there's Velcro right in here, and you can sort of detach that and then reattach it as you see fit. The jacket, honestly, is probably the better look for this figure, just because when you take this off, the proportions can get a little bit off, nothing too crazy, but I do think overall, they did a pretty nice job with it. The body has a relatively substantial feel to it. It doesn't feel like something super high quality, but it's definitely better than a lot of third-party bodies I've experienced in the past. So I do got to give credit to Toys Era. I do think overall the quality is pretty good here, especially for the price you're paying of $200 out the door. So yeah, I got to give them credit there. The pants I do say that, I think that this is one they probably could have improved upon. There is absolutely no weathering whatsoever on these pants. And this is a guy who's living in the apocalypse, right? Running from clickers and bloaters and runners and all types of zombie, mushroom zombies. So I do think this is probably one where we could have done with a little more weathering on the pants. As you can see, nothing on the front or back. These are very clean. And as is the jacket, really, for the most part. There's a couple little tears and, rips there on the one side. But overall, the tailoring is decent, but nothing spectacular. The wrist pegs are actually covered. So honestly, you won't even need to put the watch on him if you're going to put the jacket on him, because the sleeves are pretty well tailored to that specific length. So you won't even see it regardless. I do think the jacket fits him pretty well. So, I think in that regard, the tailoring is solid. As you can see, though, the collar tends to ride up a bit on this head sculpt. This is something that you're going to have to just mess with a little bit. You can always tug down on the shirt, and you can see it pulls it down a little bit to adjust the collar, but it wants to go back up. It wants to ride back up. So that's something you just kind of have to work with to whatever you think is best. You can adjust the head a little bit. It articulates pretty well, so you can pull it up a little bit if you want to show more neck, or if you want to show less neck, you can put it down. But the less neck you show, the more the collar rides up and it looks a little bit awkward. So you kind of got to pick your poison there. The neck is actually a different color than the head sculpt. I'm not sure how well this is showing up on camera, but the paint apps are slightly different. So whatever body they use, the paint on the head sculpt is actually a little bit different. and that's not ideal. I mean, that does feel very third party-ish, and I think Toys R Us was clearly trying to go for something that was above third party quality. And they mostly did it, but I do think there are a few hang-ups like that where it's like, okay, that was just cheaply done. And again, that makes it feel a little more third party. So, that's something as well. But beyond that, let's move to the next portion of the video. All right, guys, so now we are on to the accessories part of the video. So I'm gonna pull out each of these accessories that come with the last father, aka Joel Miller from HBO The Last of Us, Pedro Pascal, and we're gonna go over just the details of each one individually. That said, you may think an accessory is missing. It's actually the backpack. I'm gonna show you that one individually. I already put it on Joel. I wanted to see what it looked like, so I'm gonna show you that one in a sec. That said, let's start with the rifle here. All right, so starting with the hunting rifle, this hunting rifle is actually super cool. So you may remember this from, I believe it was episode 5 or 6, the one where Ellie and Joel meet up with Henry and Sam, and they're going through Kansas City, which was originally Pittsburgh in the game, but it got moved to Kansas City for the show for practical purposes. This hunting rifle is actually made of wood and die cast, actually. So the real wood you can actually feel here, has a nice texture to it. And then the die cast, you can see the metal components are actually made of die cast metal. They're cold to the touch. It is really awesome. You can see the action there is really cool, and it goes up and down. And you can have Joel posing this one. Really nice accessory, really nice weapon so far. Really liking what we got so far. And the second weapon that we have here is actually an assault rifle. You may remember this weapon from the hospital that they reach in Salt Lake City, where Joel ends up rescuing Ellie. And he takes an assault rifle from one of the Firefly soldiers and just shoots up the entire place. So this actually is a really cool gun. This may be how I have my Joel displayed with this assault rifle. You can see the strap here that is adjustable that you can put on Joel's shoulder or just have it hanging there if he's holding it. But it's really, really cool. There's also a clip that comes out of here. You can see there's a clip that goes right into the bottom of the gun, which I think is also really nice. So that's something that I'm gonna go ahead and slide right back in there because I don't wanna lose that thing. This is another cool weapon and another cool option for Joel Miller should you wanna display him with this gun. So now you can see here we have a shovel. This is actually another die-cast piece, cold to the touch, and this shovel actually is from when they buried Henry and Sam after they departed them, which was kind of unfortunate just because in the game you had a little bit longer with them. It's like a whole section of the game in Pittsburgh, and this part in Kansas City ends up being about 1 episode. So nothing, they have to make adjustments for adapting it to the screen. But at the end of the day, as an avid game player, obviously, and someone who has a Last of Us tattoo, I would have liked to see a little bit more time with Henry and Sam, especially considering how good the performances were. You can see the detail on the shovel. There's like some rusting effects there. It does have a cold to the touch type of feel. And this one, I'm not sure if this is real wood or plastic, but it does have a nice consistency to it. And I think this would be a nice thing if you want to display that, but doubt anyone's going to use this, to be honest. This accessory actually kind of ties into camping Joel. This is a thermos. This is die-cast metal, so it actually is very cold to the touch. And is pretty cool. I mean, this, if you ever needed a die-cast 1/6 thermos, here you go. I don't think I'm going to be using this in my display. This is something, again, that kind of gives Joel that camper vibe. We have a sleeping bag here. This actually has a couple straps that attach to the backpack. This comes attached to the backpack. For me, I detached it very quickly just because I knew this was not going to be something that I ended up using with my Joel figure. He's not normally wearing this on his backpack in the show, and in the game, he never did. So this was something that, to me, it's a nice accessory to have, but again, not going to be something that I'm going to be personally using. Better to have it than not, but at the end of the day, not a crucial accessory. So this is another die-cast accessory that we have here. Very cold to the touch, has a nice texture and heavy weight to it, but it's not going to be something, again, that I'm going to find myself using. If you want to put Joel in a drinking pose, I mean, I guess it could be sufficient for that. But beyond that, I'm not sure if this is going to be a crucial one as well. Again, it's better to have these things than to not, and the value is certainly there considering, you're charging under $200 from Toys R Us to get people to buy this figure, but, cool that it's die-cast, but again, not an absolutely essential accessory, but nice. So what we have here are 2 sort of costume accessories. We have a gun holster and a knife sheath. These actually slide over Joel's belt. You have to take the belt off and then get them on, like in his belt holder, and then slide them on. Not exactly a fun process, and I don't think I'm going to be doing that just because I know that it doesn't really fit naturally. When I did try it, I know that it didn't really sit well with the rest of the costume. It ends up having the shirt bunching up in that area, and the jacket doesn't lay flat as you would like it to when these things are installed on him. It is nice to have them. You know, I'm not sure if they're real leather or pleather or whatever, but I do think that overall they feel like nice quality, and they're better again to have than not. That's kind of the theme of this accessory portion, unfortunately, but they are nice accessories. Just I don't know how essential all of them are, but again, rather have them not, the value is there. So now what we have are basically cans of soup. There's actually 6 of these, and these are actually a die-cast material as well. I guess kind of the theme to me is that I'm starting to notice that a lot of this stuff is die-cast, but why exactly? I mean, you know, I do understand that these are accessories, but at the end of the day, how crucial are they? Do they need to be die cast? I mean, to me, if the die cast isn't expensive, fine, so be it. But I don't know that, you know, that die cast Chef Boyardee or soup cans are really going to make all the difference in the world here. But beyond that, I don't really see the necessity for these. So next up, we have our display base. This actually does come with a crotch grabber that you can plug in right there. It does not actually have a nameplate, so there's no Last Father Joel or Last Father anything, Last of Us nothing. So definitely a little bit of an L there. The base is very simple. You got a printed sort of grass design here with it looks like a cordyceps growing in the top there. I mean, this will get the job done. It's a simple base. To me, though, if you're going to end up keeping this figure, it could be something where you go with a custom base of some kind, just because this one is a little bit underwhelming. I mean, for the price you're paying, I get it, but no nameplate, you know, no real intricate design there, just some sort of printed grass and cordyceps. I mean, yeah, it's okay, but I would have liked more. So we also have a couple sets of seamless forearms here. This is actually a right hand, sort of a relaxed hand look. I'll show you in a little bit, but these actually plug onto the body. You kind of pop the old ones off, you plug these on. By the way, they don't plug all the way in, so there are pegs, but they don't click in, so don't feel like you're absolutely forcing in, trying to jam it to click in. You will not hear a click sound. They just kind of hang out there and attach, you know, as they hang there as well as they can, to be honest. But I will say the detail on them overall is pretty good. This is one of my first experiences with a seamless forearm, so I do think overall I'm pretty impressed with this. The detail on it I think is pretty impressive. I don't think this is as detailed as maybe some other 1/6 arms that I've seen, but I do think overall I'm pretty happy with it. I think it does the job. You know, if you want seamless forearms, you want to display Joel with the plaid shirt on instead of the jacket, then, you know, you can absolutely use one of these. And you can use this one on the other side, which is for the left hand. So you have a left relaxed hand here, and there are some other ones I'm going to show you right now. And we have another set of seamless forearms here. We have a right trigger hand here and a left sort of relaxed / gun holding hand. You'd probably use this if you wanted to have him hold the assault rifle or the hunting rifle, so he can sort of you know, grip that rifle with the other hand while, you know, the right hand is in the trigger form. So these are pretty cool. Again, they don't peg all the way in, but I do think the detail is pretty solid. They are a little bit flat in the paint, but I do think overall they'll do the trick if you want to go that route. So we also have 2 different watches for Joel. One of them actually is not cracked, so it was before Sarah's death, and the watch was just given to him as a birthday gift the night of her passing. So you do have that one, as you can see here, without any cracks in it. And then you also have the other version, which does have cracks in it, as you can see here. It's super tiny, so you might even not be able to catch that detail on your screen here, but it is there, and there are little cracks there. I love the attention to detail. I do wish this were a sculpted piece, however. Getting this strap to sit correctly and just do what you want it to do is a giant pain in the ass. So I would have liked a sculpted watch that just could have slid over the wrist. I think that would have been much easier, and I don't think it would have downgraded the, you know, the realism in any way. I do like the detail on it, but again, the strap is a massive hassle. So we also have Joel's revolver here. Now this is an essential accessory, and this one is made of die cast as well. So it has a very cold feel to it when you touch it. This one is heavy, but again, Joel can hold it no problem. This accessory is absolutely integral. Joel's revolver is super important to his character. It's really his preferred weapon. It's what he uses most of the time in most cutscenes, and just overall, you know, when you see promo images and stuff like that, the revolver is generally what's in his hand. And I do think there's a lot of detail on this piece. So the revolver is definitely a win in my book. So here we have a flashlight. This one can actually be used by Joel if you want him holding it and sort of shining it at something. There are no LED functions with this flashlight. It's not die cast. It's simply a plastic piece. The one thing that I really don't like about it is that it's not magnetic, so it doesn't attach to Joel's backpack at all. If you know The Last of Us, you would know that really on the front straps, characters generally have a light that is magnetically attached to their backpack, and this is not the case with this one. So this one is pretty useless unless you can hold it in Joel's hand and have him shining it at something. But again, to me, it's like I would rather have something that I think could attach to the backpack as well. Maybe 2 different versions, but this to me is an important accessory, and I would have liked something that was magnetic. So this is Joel's hunting knife, and I actually love this one because it's die-cast metal, cold to the touch here on the metal part, and then here the handle is actually a really nice plastic. So I do think this is an important accessory for Joel, considering he uses this to, kill the hunters, a hunter rather, in Kansas City when he's ambushed, and Ellie saves Joel's life. And then, later on, I believe he used this knife as well during the winter season when David's men take Ellie and he's torturing them, which is one of the best scenes in all of The Last of Us. So this knife accessory is actually pretty cool. It can be sheathed in the little holder, but I think you could probably have him holding it instead, and I think it would look cooler. So this accessory, you might be wondering what in the fuck it is. It's actually beef jerky. So there's this plastic sort of material, and this is beef jerky because Ellie and Joel ate beef jerky at one time in the show, and they included beef jerky strips. So again, these are the type of accessories that I feel like are box patters, and something, again, better to have than not. I think overall there's only so much you can do with them, and I think Toys R Us has done a really nice job with these, but I don't think these are going to be integral to your Last of Us display. So there are 6 total hands that come with Joel. There's 4, as you can see here, 2 of which are actually installed on the body. There's a finger trigger hand on the right hand, and then a relax hand that's actually on the left hand as of now. But these hands have a lot of detail. They look, pretty lifelike. They have some texture to them, so they definitely serve the purpose. So last but certainly not least, I promised I would show you guys the backpack. I actually love this backpack. There's not a lot of weathering on it, which is kind of unfortunate. It's very, very clean, like Joel just hit the town and is surviving in the apocalypse. But overall, I do think it does the trick. There is actually a little magnet here that you can attach to the magnet there, and then it sort of locks in and stays in place. So the backpack actually does a really nice job just kind of helping pad Joel out and have him look a little more, consistent to the world of The Last of Us. Like I mentioned, there are straps here. They have like metal components right here on the sides. But again, there's no flashlight that attaches to them, so it may be something that, you need to pick up on your own at some point. But yeah, overall, I'm happy with this backpack, and let's take a look at Joel himself in a little more detail. I wanted to give a little bit more info on a few technical aspects of this figure. The best way to detach the forearms is to bend them backward and pop the forearm off. If you try to simply yank the forearm off, you're gonna have a bad time. Trust me, I tried it. Thanks to Justin's Collection for the tip. Secondly, I don't know if I've clearly communicated how much I dislike this watch. The band is insanely tiny, and to get the straps to tighten is next to impossible unless you have the super tiniest hands in the world. If you do happen to get it nice and tight, my recommendation would be to leave it and never touch it again. Great detail on the watch, but horrible execution. I think that Toys R Us did a pretty good job with this Joel figure. While I don't think it's quite on the level of a Hot Toys or InArt figure yet, I do believe this is a huge step in the right direction. Toys R Us has filled an important void in the market for HBO The Last of Us figures, and so far they've done it well. I'm looking forward to getting Ellie in hand because I think they'll make a really strong pairing on the shelf. I think we got a quite good head sculpt here in Joel, solid tailoring, a bunch of really good accessories, and a disappointing display base. Still, while the paint apps are a bit lacking on the face, it's not bad, and the likeness is there. This is a bit of a mixed bag of a figure, but that tends to be the case in my experience with a lot of third-party offerings. That said, I do think this is one of the better ones, and if you're a huge fan of The Last of Us like myself, I think you'll ultimately be satisfied with this offering here. I'm gonna give the Toys R Us Joel Miller The Last Father figure an 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell for more 1/6 scale and statue collecting content that you won't want to miss. That's all from me for now. I'll see you in the next video.